About a month ago, Mojang made the first step in crafting a combat system that is consistent across platforms and attempts to end the perpetual war between 1.8 and 1.9. It's an important issue to resolve. There are many things to like and dislike about both systems. Legacy combat is far from being mindless spamming. It requires plenty of skill, derived from block hitting, strafing, rodding, W-tapping, and maintaining aim. 1.9, or modern combat, is a bit slower paced, but requires skill in a different sense. It emerges from strategic choices, based on precise timing instead. One is not objectively better than the other. Very recently, a YouTuber by the name of Tenebris released a video claiming that Mojang was suppressing the 1.8 community's opinions. The mistake that informs the rest of the video is made 20 seconds in. GreasyTroll, the person who made the post he cites, is a moderator for r/Minecraft Suggestions, which is not affiliated with Mojang. Mojang can't even legally take ideas from that subreddit anymore, although they can use them as inspiration. Mojang may have rejected the Gamerule, but they aren't removing all discussion on it, and neither are the moderators of Minecraft Suggestions. The moderators are only removing small, select parts of it to avoid as much conflict as possible. The other combat threads on the main Minecraft subreddit and the official feedback site remain intact. However, the feedback site has its own issues. I outline those in another video. No one is trying to suppress anyone's opinions. The moderators of Minecraft Suggestions are simply tired of the pointless bickering and endless arguments that discussion of reversing combat inevitably leads to. Furthermore, the idea of a 1.8 combat game rule is already on the frequently posted suggestions list, which is a list of ideas that are no longer deemed original or unique. Everyone seems tired of seeing them over and over again, thus causing them to be removed on-site unless the idea is a unique take on an old concept. Having an idea that is listed on the FPS list isn't necessarily a bad thing, as there have been many suggestions from there that were eventually added to the game, such as crossbows and pandas. But it is important to realize that the FPS is part of the subreddit's rules and must be followed. It was never the subreddit's intention to shut down all discussion relating to 1.8 combat, just the ideas that relate to a game rule or complete and total reversal of 1.9 plus combat. Respectful civil discussion, or what makes 1.8 combat special to a poster, or what they'd like to see return from it, is still allowed and encouraged, so that PvPers don't feel left out or ignored. Minecraft Suggestions, which has less than 3% of the member count of the main Minecraft subreddit, is not censoring the PvP community. This is not a big deal. The combat argument is not a big deal either to most of the player base. Minecraft as a whole didn't die because of 1.9, and it's not going to die if a game rule is not added. In fact, Minecraft was never dead. A game isn't dead just because the mainstream doesn't focus on it, and no matter how many times people say Mojang is trying to kill off Java so they can force microtransactions on Bedrock, it still isn't true. People have been saying that ever since Better Together was announced, almost 2 years ago, and there are no signs of Mojang dropping support for Java. Even the developers have confirmed multiple times that support for Java will not end. There is no need to go to war with Mojang based off misunderstandings and conspiracy theories. No matter how many people ask for a game rule, it's never going to happen. It was rejected years ago. People need to accept that and start considering more viable ideas for the new combat system that will make it fast-paced like 1.8, yet still appease the 1.9 crowd. Over a year ago, I released a video explaining why a game rule would be a bad idea, the points of which I'll briefly summarize here. Firstly, the cooldown was not the only controversial thing about 1.9. There was also the removal of sword blocking, the addition of shields, the rebalancing of weapons and armor, and the changing of fishing rod physics. To lump those changes into one toggle assumes that people either completely like or dislike 1.9 combat, thus not solving the problem. Secondly, game rules are designed primarily for map making and experimenting, not for something as fundamental as combat. Having two official combat systems would be very confusing. My last point was very iffy because I didn't know much about Minecraft's internals. I postulated that it was possible to recreate 1.8 on the latest version using plugins, and that people wanted a game rule for official support. But that would require double the balancing whenever combat-related content is added, like mobs, weapons, and potion effects. When I showed this video to Antvenom, he agreed with all my points except for this one, so I did some more research. After talking to some PvPers and server plugin makers, I found out that it's not possible to fully recreate 1.8 PvP on servers running the latest version, since plugins can only modify the server side, not the client side, and that recreating 1.8 would require modifications to both. In addition, it would be extremely buggy, and that's why PvPers want official support from Mojang. But I doubt everyone who wants a game rule knows that. On the surface, a game rule seems like the easiest solution, but doesn't mean that it's the best. Even after learning all of this, I'm still opposed to a game rule for the simple reason that it enforces a false dichotomy between 1.8 and 1.9. Not everyone likes one or the other, so if we really want to solve it, we should ask for customizable combat. Weapon attributes like damage, attack speed, knockback, and reach, as well as others that change between versions, would be fully customizable. You could recreate combat from 1.8, 1.9, or 1.7, combine aspects of any of them, or even forget all that, and make your own. After all, Minecraft is about letting you create your own experience. The hints of lore scattered throughout Minecraft prompt players to create their own stories. Data packs and mods allow players to create their own gameplay. The flexible block palette encourages players to build creatively. Likewise, customizable combat would enable players and servers to create their own combat systems, instead of forcing them to choose between two imperfect systems. It isn't unrealistic to hope for fully customizable combat. Even Tenebris liked the idea, and he's been one of the most vocal proponents for a game rule. To reiterate, Mojang isn't suppressing anyone's opinions, but no matter how vocal PvPers are, they're not going to change Mojang's mind. However, customizable combat is not off the table, and it may be the last chance to get any semblance of 1.8 combat into modern versions. It seems to fit with Minecraft, since entirely new, creative combat systems could emerge from it. It would be good for the PvP community too. Instead of continuing to stagnate on 1.8, innovation would be at an all-time high, and they'd finally be able to update their servers without fear of losing players. The community has been advocating for a combat game rule for 3 years, and nothing's changed. We need to turn the conversation around. So if you agree with the points made in this video, please like it and share it with others who support a game rule, so we can spread the message. Otherwise, we may never hear the end of it. The ability to customize combat may satisfy the PvPers, but Minecraft still needs a default experience for everyone else, and for that system, Mojang needs to consider the needs of the whole, not just the needs of the vocal. That's why we're starting the Caves in Combat podcast, where me and a couple of others will brainstorm how to create a balanced combat experience for everyone based on different viewpoints, as well as how to improve the underground. If you subscribe and hit the bell, you'll be notified of these once they're up. If you want to take part in the discussion, feel free to join our community, which includes a Discord with channels to brainstorm ideas and discuss virtually any topic related to Minecraft, as well as a subreddit for submitting amazing, in-depth suggestions. It's all in the description down below. Until next time, stay abnormal.